So, why don't we have any really popular UK beauty influencers? Let's talk about it. Well, I started this video mostly because I really wanted to do my makeup. I was bored. And whilst I was thinking about it, I was thinking, why don't we have any really famous UK influencers? Obviously, from my accent, I'm not from the UK, but I do live here. Live here for school, and if all goes well, I'll be living here for quite a while, right? So why don't we have any? First off, you can see that I'm putting a line in my face, and that's because I'm testing two different foundations from NARS, the Radiant Longwear, and I have Marquises on one side, Manas on the other, and I'm really just trying to figure out which one works better. But back to business. Really, what I saw was that you don't really see many influencers, even if they are of my complexion, that are really beauty influencers. They're more bloggers than they are beauty influencers. And I think that's okay, but why not? I feel like you have a lot of possibilities surrounding that market in the UK, mostly because we have so many black people living in the UK, and very few of them really you see are aiming towards this market. And it's not because we don't have the opportunity. There's so much makeup being sold in drugstore and high end, and a lot of it would work really well for our skin. But the problem is, a lot of the influencers that we have in the UK are of a lighter complexion, and therefore, what works for them won't always work for us. And I think that is the issue that we are kind of seeing at the moment. Like, why don't we have someone there that's testing and telling us what is really gonna work for our complexion versus not? And why don't big brands really push for that? And I understand this because their market really is for not the black community, which is okay. We should never shame a company just because we're not their targeted audience. We should just find what is targeting us. But at the same time, YouTube is a huge place. And yes, we have a lot of American black influencers, but what they are able to see, what is readily available for them, isn't readily available for us, at least not really. It's 2024 now, so I feel like we have the opportunity, we have the space where it's okay for us to really start building that market, because we should. In 2024, we need to have more representation in the beauty industry on YouTube in regards to black influencers in the UK. All I'm saying is we need to open that conversation. And I think 2024 is a really good year for us to really start sitting down and thinking about whether or not we are really going to be diving into this. Because for me, I love makeup, I love skincare. It's something that I've been in love with for years. And I think if I had that opportunity to see someone who is my complexion, I wouldn't be spending half as much of money as I've spent in regards to testing and trying to figure out what works. Because one, makeup isn't cheap, it is quite expensive. And when you see how much builds up, especially when it comes to foundation prices, when you're trying to test foundation, that you're gauging whether or not it's your skin complexion, it really takes a lot. And I think we need someone on this platform in the UK that is willing to really put in the time and effort. I mean, I would. I'm a student, so I don't know if I'd be very consistent with it, but I would do my best if I really took it up. But I do think that it's time for the black beauty influencers to really make a stand, because it's your time to shine. Trust me, I'm all waiting. I would very much be interested in what you want to say. And I think it also opens up the idea that, especially if you're someone who's very honest, you see a lot of people talk about, oh, they love this, and they really sell you a product because it's trending and they get paid for it, and whatever commission they make. And I think at the same time, you're forced to think you need more than you actually do, and you're forced to believe that a product is going to be the next greatest thing because you're being thrown it from every direction from every influencer who really just wants to make money. And I understand that influencing is a job that people do to make money, but I feel like we need to bring back reality checks, especially in this economy. Not everyone can afford a lot of high-end makeup, and not a lot of people, especially influencers who do have the opportunity to get PR, don't realize that you really need to remember your target audience are people who have day-to-day jobs and day-to-day bills. And yes, something might be nice, but think about when you're advertising it to them. Is it gonna be a really good sales tactic ethically? Like, yeah, it's a good product, but is this something that if they don't have it, is it okay? Is it really worth what the actual price of it is? Because I feel like that is a conversation that is not had a lot, especially with a lot of expensive makeup. People tend to advertise it, and then when you really think about the price point for the quality that you're getting, it really isn't worth it. And so I feel like those are values that we need brought back in the industry. And I think in 2024, black YouTubers, black beauty influencers, especially ones here who don't really have the opportunity to really have their voices heard, it's time for you to really put that out there. Because trust me, my friend was saying that anyone who's honest, I would sit and listen to them, and that is so true. If someone were to come on here and really dish out the truth in regards to makeup and skincare and what they think is worth it, I would sit and listen, and I would ensure that I promote them and I talk about them to my friends and people around me, because it would make sense. So I think 2024, that's the year we need to really focus on this market. I know everyone's on TikTok, but come on. YouTube is the OG. It will always be, and no matter what happens, it's gonna still be here. And so TikTok influencing, it really doesn't help much, because yeah, it's nice to make a short video, but I still want reviews. I still want to see products, and I want to see whether or not they're worth the amount of money that I'm putting into it. And I don't want to see that for just 10 seconds, because that doesn't really give me any real understanding as to what I'm going to be investing my money in. And trust me, at this time of my life, I really want to know what I'm investing my money in. So, with that being said, let's talk about what I'm doing to my face. I have two foundation shades from NARS. I have the Menace shade and I have the Marquise shade. One is MD5 and one is D1. The Marquise shade is what I would consider a winter shade. Marquise is the lighter. It's what I consider the winter shade because it is lighter. However, it is very orange. In NARS, you need to do better. Why is your foundation orange? However, Menace, which is what you'd see to be a nicer shade, it is on the more red side, which means that when that foundation oxidizes, it is just gonna show right on my face, which means it's not really my shade either. I was thinking about mixing it, but again, that shouldn't be an option. Like NARS, you have the opportunity to make an MD6, which is not as orange as the Marquise shade. That works perfectly for whoever is near my skin tone. Someone who doesn't want, it's more of a neutral shade, to be honest. And I think brands need to fix the neutral idea, because it usually does tend to lean towards one or the other. So that is something to work on. However, I do love this foundation, and it's one of the reasons I'm willing to make it work. So I did try that. And I did utilize the NARS concealer, because I feel like if we're doing NARS, we need to keep it in the family. So the foundation and the concealer are both from NARS. It's the Radiant Creamy concealer. And I love that concealer, but I have a really love-hate relationship with it as well, because although I love it, I don't think it works really well for my skin. I'm really, really trying to have it be a staple and something that I'm gonna go back to. And I do on occasion, because I even know I go back to it, but that was only because I'm using a NARS foundation and I feel like it would make things blend a little bit easier overall. But I don't know if I've seen so many people rave about it and they love it, and I'm just not one of those people. I don't say it's a bad concealer. I just don't think if you have a lot of under eye creasing, like I do, because I have a lot of under eye creasing, it's a good concealer to have. It is very creamy. However, I think that is the downside in regards to how it works for me, because it will just sit in my creases if I don't constantly set it, or if I don't fix it and then set it immediately. Because I feel like it's a type of concealer where if you do have creasing, you have to work really quickly. It does not give you that much leeway. But other than that, it's a really good concealer. My setting powder was the Huda Beauty Kanafa, which hands down is one of the best I've ever used. And my lip gloss was from NYX. It's the Butter Gloss, the praline color. It's amazing and it's super creamy. I still have it on while I'm doing this recording. This voiceover. Along with my blush, which is the Barry M blush. Barry M products are so slept on as a drugstore brand. Why? They're so good. But, you know, I guess to each your own. And my setting spray is the OG. It is the Urban Decay All Nighter. It works and I don't think it'll ever stop working. And I think I will continue using that for the foreseeable future. With that, it's gonna come to an end.